Hey gang, what's up? Hope everybody's doing well out there today, and welcome back here to another edition of Mental Monday. Much appreciated you guys making a little time to check the video out today. And if you're new to Mental Mondays, guys, this is something we do once a week that really doesn't have anything to do with fishing. I usually just discuss some world, current events and popular culture and, mental type stuff. So it's sort of a departure from our fishing tips. So you regulars know that. But if you're new to the channel, or if you have been watching the channel, welcome back, and I'm glad to have you guys here. Today we're going to be doing a video. I've been wanting to do this video for a while. We're going to talk about people that confuse negativity with reality, or people that confuse reality with negativity, one of the two. In other words, people that see talking about reality and exposing reality as being negative. And the reason I want to do this, guys, is you all know that I do quite a bit of opinion pieces on this channel, whether it could be something with live scope or something with the environment or whatever. But anytime that I do an opinion piece, I inevitably get, probably, I don't know, 10% of the comments on there talking about, oh, Randy, you're negative all the time. I'm tired of this channel. You're just negative, negative, negative. And I want to address that a little bit because there is a big difference between negativity and realism. And, knowing the difference between that and being able to discern that is a really important, trait in the human experience here. So anyway, getting into this a little bit here, one of the things that I do on this channel here is I like to be real with it. I like to give you guys a dose of realism. And in a lot of situations out there, you can't separate from what people see as negativity with their realism. The difference is that it's not negative if you bring a situation to light and then maybe offer some type of a solution to that. That is actually positivity. I think far too often people simply don't acknowledge things that are painful simply because they're painful. They don't want to think about it. They don't want to deal with it. A lot of people, when they're confronted with topics that make them uncomfortable, they stay away from those topics. They don't want to, deal with it whatsoever. That's the same with a lot of people, when people talk about death. A lot of people are very uncomfortable with talking about it because they're, fearful, or they just doesn't make them feel right. But I want to address specifically the difference between negativity and realism. Now, let's talk about a topic that's familiar with this channel. If you guys have watched everything, you guys know that I talk a lot about environmental issues on this channel, and specifically about overdevelopment. And I've done a lot of videos, and I've shown you guys examples of overdevelopment and how our wild places are being destroyed and they'll never be the same again. So when you're dealing with a situation, say for example, I bring a situation up where they bulldoze down, 100-acre tract of old growth trees. When I talk about old growth, I'm talking about trees over 100 years old in that term. I mean, a lot of you guys will say old growth is 500 years old, but old trees, basically. Somebody bulldozes down a 100-acre tract of prime wildlife habitat to put in a convenience store or a vape shop or something like that. A lot of people say when I rail against that I'm being negative, but what they don't realize is that every single year we lose hundreds of thousands of acres in this country of prime wildlife habitat where other creatures rely on that habitat to simply survive, to development. And much of it is unnecessary development. We lose that every single year. And I'll talk about, if you multiply that times 50 years, what type of picture do you get what our country looks like? Which is, there's no way to spin that positive. It's like, I can bring that to light and people say, oh, you're being negative about it, Randy. It's like, there's nothing you can do to spin that into positive. When you talk about living in a world here where we don't have any wild places left, we don't have any habitat for wildlife, and all you have is commercialization and urbanization, there's no way to spin that into anything positive. So from that standpoint, if somebody perceives that as being negative, they're sort of in denial of reality of the situation. The reality is we need those places. They're more important to our existence and our well-being on all different levels than any type of strip mall is going to be. But the thing about that is offering a solution to that, then it turns it into something positive. And it's the same with something like LiveScope. You know, you guys know, well, if you've been on this channel anyway, you know that I'm sort of leading the charge of this anti-technology, anti-LiveScope thing. And inevitably, I get a lot of comments about people saying, "Oh, you're being negative, Randy. I'm done with this channel because I can't stand the negativity." What they don't understand is the cumulative effects that technology has on the sport of bass fishing over the long term, where I may point out, that LiveScope crosses the line and what's next. And people perceive that as negative, and I perceive that as trying to bring awareness and protecting the sustainability of our sport for future generations, which is a positive thing. So from that standpoint, you can use any topic out there whatsoever. It doesn't matter what it is. But far too often, like I said, there's people out there that if you bring any type of reality into the forefront, they label it as negativity. And we're never going to get anything done, guys. If we can't acknowledge that we have issues and problems in this country or on this planet, that is what perpetuates those problems. And that's what makes them worse, is by the time that they're brought into our awareness, it's too late to fix them. So don't feel bad if you're one of those people out there that, some people say that you're negative and, you're all you do is are a downer. Sort of examine, what that particular position is, because there's a difference between the type of negativity and realism. Because if it's something like, okay, let's talk it from one term. Okay, we talked about it from the term like the wildlife habitat loss. Let's talk about it. Say you and I are going to go fishing tomorrow, and it's going to be, the weather forecast is for just a cold, crappy, nasty day, high winds. It's going to be terrible out there. And, say I'm fishing with a buddy and say, "Man, Randy, this is going to be terrible. It's going to be freezing cold tomorrow. The wind's going to be howling. We're not going to be able to fish anywhere. It's just going to be, it's going to be a suck day on the water." And then I come back, and that is a perspective of negativity on there. And I may come back to that same situation and say, "Hey man, it's going to be nasty. It's going to be cold. It's going to be raining. It's going to be windy. But that's going to be awesome, because that means, number one, there's not going to be many people on the water. Number two, that's going to activate a certain percentage of fish in that lake, and we have to figure out the type of areas that are going to be conducive to that. This high wind and the cloud that's going to make those shallow fish bite. We're going to go out there and whack them today. Yeah, it may be a little cold, but we'll dress good, and it's going to be a great day on the water." So it's a matter of your perspective on certain things as far as being negative or positive. But there's some things that you can't do that with. You cannot pretend and sugarcoat certain realities in this world as being, and say you're being negative about it, because there's a complete difference. It's a complete different set of circumstances out there. So anyway, the point of what I'm talking about here is, don't confuse negativity with being real. And facing reality is critical, because guys, I'm telling you right now, so many people do not face reality. They create an alternative reality to fit into their worldview. Now, you see this all the time, and politics is a prime example of it. People confuse, facts with alternative facts, and they twist reality to fit their worldview all the time, and they basically expose themselves to things that they only want to hear without anything else. So from that standpoint, that's completely different than talking about a fishing trip, how it's going to be tomorrow. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there, guys. Mainly what I wanted to say is, you're never going to hear me be negative on this channel for the sake of negativity. Anything that I bring up that is perceived as negativity is actually me trying to affect change for the positive. And, I usually state the reasons for that, along with, some solutions with that. So just wanted to address that, guys. Again, much appreciated y'all tuning in. We'll see y'all next week for another Mental Monday. See you.